since we've been slacking on filming.
Oh yeah, all night. Haven't got a damn video out there.
We are running the new battery positive cable for the super truck.
And we're using the terminals.
Yeah, we got new wire. We did not get new terminals. Obviously, this is all the old wire here.
Old crusty wires.
And yeah, we realized we didn't have terminals. We had one.
Really brittle wires. So when this thing would get hot, it would start crank over at about 25 RPMs, which is basically impossible to start. So I just prayed that we never stalled it or anything in the middle of a race, because we were not going to fire off again if we had to restart it. So in hopes we can get this thing figured out, we're putting all new wiring, all 2-gauge welding cable wire. So we'll see how it works. But we actually did get a little cleaning done. We did get this whole front for the new motor. We got to do a little rattle can job on it first.
Cleaned up that right there, ready for some paint, and the motor, which should be
coming in
very shortly here.
Alright, so this is about as professional as you can get in this bent and broken shop here. But I think they look okay. And we got shrink wrap on there and a little bit of electrical tape to seal it off. So we got all three of our, actually four of our new power wires all done up with the crimps and everything. And yes, we reused all the crimps and they work perfectly after we spread them open.
Terminals.
Yeah, the terminals, my bad. And they're ready to go. So that's that. And this is the last piece of the puzzle here, the heartbeat.
Look at that beauty.
Yeah, she's coming along. Kind of been a little pause on working on the motor, but I'm back doing it. So I'm gonna be getting this bottom pulley here spaced out accordingly, and trying to get that all lined up right. And then sitting over there, those cylinder heads are the last piece. I gotta put some valves in one out of the two. One's already done, one's still needing to be built, and then go from there. So slowly but surely it's coming along. Alright guys, this is definitely a very weird Thirsty Thursday because number one, I'm not drinking, and number two, Eric's not here. But I'm in the garage and I'm working on this engine. The reason why things are weird tonight is because last night Livia had a little issue and I had to take her to the hospital, go to the emergency room, and she had to get her appendix removed. But she's home now, she's doing good. I'm running like 3 hours of sleep, but gotta get this thing done. So what I'm currently doing is I'm dressing up these pistons. I don't really like the way they got this sharp little, I don't know, like little pad right here. I guess is kind of where they cast them at or whatever, or forge them. So I'm getting rid of that, and I'm taking these sharp edges right here on the valve relief out, because I figured I'd come this far in this motor, might as well go all out and just make sure there's no hot spots. The cylinder heads are done, they're going on soon. But basically, this is what it looks like. Take a little grinder and a little cartridge roll right here and a buffer, and then come on over here. This is kind of what the finished product looks like. Nice and smooth. So very little chance for detonation and pre-ignition. So that's what I'm doing right now, and I figured I'd give you guys an update. All right, on to the next step here. All the pistons are done, and now I'm gonna go ahead and buff the deck surface here, get it nice and cleaned up, so the head gasket will stick to it, and these cylinder heads will go on with no sealing problems. So, take my little buffing wheel here and go to town.
At the parts store, cause you know I want more chrome smokestacks, new carpet for the floorboard, camouflage wrap, a Bass Pro cap, and 5 new decals for the back glass. Most of the stuff I want.
So just so everybody knows, this is not a Scotch-Brite. This is like the little rubber wheel. It takes off hardly anything, but it does get a nice shine on the deck surface there. So it's all done, both sides. Ready to go ahead and install the head studs and start getting the head gaskets and cylinder heads on. Alright, as you can see, I got one side in. I just figured I'd show you guys what I use here for sealant. I use Ultra Gray RTV, and so just kind of snug them down, and then I'll let them dry up overnight instead of trying to scrub all this stuff off while it's wet. Let these dry up, and you just take a razor blade and go right around it, and then they come right off, kind of like an earring. So I got one more side to do, and that'll do it. These are old ARP bolts I got in the freaking swap meet like 6 years ago, and have used them on all my motors, and they're just great because they never go out. The thing I don't like about using head bolts on these old blocks is the threads in here. As you can see, are coarse threads, and I don't like using that as the clamping force, so I like to get these in there, and then the fine threaded part on top, there's zero stress pretty much on those threads when you're doing it that way, because there's no turning. It's just a direct clamping force only. So it's a good little trick for the old small block Chevy blocks. You don't know how much rust is in the threads. Alright guys, now a little update here. Working on the motor again today. Made a lot of progress. You guys let me know what you think, but got both the heads bolted on, torqued down the head studs. These valve covers just kind of loosely on there. I still got a set valve lash and stuff, but got the heads painted and looking half decent. Got my coolant crossover pipe thing all hooked up, and just getting little things like the motor mounts on, and cleaning off the exhaust port area here. But it's coming along. Just figured I'd show you guys what's going on and what I've been doing all weekend. But that's what it is. I'm about to start drinking here. I'm feeling like a little whiskey, but I'll tell you what. Went to Wally World the other day, and couldn't pass this little gem up. When you see a Busch Light Special Edition, you just gotta get it. Look at these cans, man. I'm a big fan. Durtamax, a 12-inch smokestack, 412s in the back, pounding hard like. Alright, now we're on the good stuff. We got the new lines running here. Kind of left it loose until we get the motor and start the motor in there and figure out the length, but we're kind of cleaning up this absolute cluster, you know what, of a wiring harness here, and trying to consolidate and redo some crimps that are kind of sketchy. But basically from the starter motor solenoid right there all the way back to the switch and then the battery, it's all done. As far as the main battery cable that I got brand new. It's weird when I buy brand new stuff, but I figured this is the right time to buy it because the starter would not turn, and hoping that basically all the new cables, and there's some connections that were kind of sketchy that we redid, so hoping that fixed all of our problems. This thing's gonna start over like brand new. Oh yeah, Eric, look at that, nice and pretty cross member there. Did you use a paintbrush on there?
Yeah.
I saw the paintbrush out there, but what'd you use for paint?
The Rust-Oleum red.
That was up there?
Yeah.
That paint is probably 7 years old.
Yeah, it was like 5 years old when I repainted the top of your cage.
Yeah.
And it was still good.
Well, fresh motor going in, at least it's not going on a dirty old cross member, so the whole rest of the frame needs a nice little touch up, but it is what it is. Bent but not broken. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got this skinned up a little bit. Got the starter solenoid here, the main junction for all the power wires coming off of it. So I got the fuse block, MSD box, and the main power wire coming from the battery. And yeah, this is kind of whatever. It works. And the only thing left to do really is get this battery cable for the starter motor configured right, and we won't know that until we get the motor in. So with that said, I'm gonna say this is pretty much done. The running new wire from the battery to the starter motor is complete. This has been on the freaking board for God knows how long. That's how long. So long that the ink has dried. Gotta have some cold beer with my country music. Gotta have my baby like a glove. Just like that old banjo. Gotta have its 5 strings. She's coming back. Gonna need some Okay.
You like that?
HPC Eric didn't like the small T, so we're putting a big old T on it. Yeah, go ahead. Let it rip. Nice and even.
That's Durtamax right there.
Emphasis on the T. That's pretty
Dirt.
cool.
That's how you spell dirt.
Dirt. All right. No more small T. Big T.
Big cam, big T.
Hey, it's a small motor with a lot of attitude. Just like we're a small team.
A lot of attitude.
A lot of attitude with a small budget. That's all I can say about that. Same thing with this motor. The Durtamax is live.
She gonna be a ripper.
Soon to be. By 82 to 8,300 RPMs. Cross our fingers, gonna stay together. All right, back at it again. What's in the bag? I ordered these today on Amazon. Those are the ones I was looking at
Same
work.
day delivery.
Yeah. So Amazon, I can't get my NGK plugs anymore for, you know, a decent price. So I'm going with Autolites. These are the AR. Well,
They're in a box.
you guys know on the first race, if we're misfiring on half the cylinders, you just saw why.
Here's the part number.
AR-132, that's what I'm running. They're a little bit colder than I'm used to running, but I figured I'd give it something new a little shot because it's been more RPMs, more horsepower, colder plug. So, got the spark plugs. The only thing we're missing on this motor here is the intake gaskets. That won't be here until probably tomorrow or the next day, so we kind of are on pause there. So what are we gonna do? We got the battery cables in. You guys saw, you know, all the work getting done on the motor, and I don't really know. I think maybe get this thing on jack stands and start getting these wheels ripped off and seeing which ones hold air, and kind of going through our good sets here, getting a stagger run out again, and kind of just checking over everything, maybe brakes and making sure all the bolts are tight. Basically getting this thing ready besides motor. We'll see. Drinks up. Okay, got the welder hooked up. Got to cross something off the board over there, weld the throttle plate that came off, or the weld actually cracked. It was a reputable chassis builder around the area that welded that, and the weld just cracked because it didn't get enough penetration. So I'm not gonna say who it was, but I'll fix it the bent but not broken way. And can't go any higher because our line going in is a little bit stretched for the welder. So I'm gonna get it done real quick, and Eric's gonna get these tires ripped off. And you probably need to turn it on because I'm gonna shock myself if I try to do it. Let me get this thing off the ground. All right, let it rip. Cool. Well, had to have some assistance here. That was a lot harder than it should have been, but the job got done. So, one more thing we can cross off the list. It's been there for 3 months. Alright, we got the old crusty wheels off. About to go put on the fresh chrome. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, exactly a week ago, this girl right here was under the knife, and here she is walking around.
No, I'm just joking.
I don't think so. She's missing one organ right here in the lower left-hand side. Your lower right-hand side.
Yeah, an appendix.
How you feeling? What do you got to say that anybody's got their appendix removed out here on YouTube land?
Fix your gut. Your gut health.
And what about the recovery?
Oh, I don't know.
Rough.
Yeah, no, it's okay. You just chill.
A week later, you're feeling fine?
Yeah.
100%?
No, a little sore, but good.
I had to
Sore
throw
where?
the trash out.
Huh?
I had to throw the trash
I know, he had to throw the trash out because it was too heavy. I couldn't lift it.
How is sleeping at night?
Oh, that sucked. I had to stay up.
Prop yourself up?
Yeah.
Oh, what a great friend Ryan is. Doesn't say a damn thing. I found out from our foreman at work the next day.
Okay, this is all within 24 hours. She went in, we took her in, I said on the video, but we took her in on ER and
Last Wednesday.
Yeah, last Wednesday, which is basically
At like 10 p.m.
basically a week ago.
Yeah.
And she
Well,
had the emergency surgery on Thursday morning at 7 a.m.
7 a.m.
And here you are a week and what, like 10 hours later.
Making dinner for you guys.
Yeah, walking around,
Great
she's
dinner.
fine.
Yeah.
She's ready to scrape mud off the car again. Here, pretty soon, October 22nd, if it's actually gonna be a race.
Or the 29th.
Or the 29th, we don't know, because our local track is just, you know, I'm not gonna talk bad about them, but they're all over the place. So it might be the 22nd, might be the 29th, we don't know. Last night was a seriously thirsty Thursday. But it's a new day, Friday, and O'Reilly came in the mail today. So finally got the last pieces to this engine that I think I need. I got these belts. I found that this house brand O'Reilly sells, Master Pro, I like these belts because I got one before and I noticed that they're a little bit thinner than the rest of the same size belts. So they fit in this groove a little better. So I've been working a lot on trying to get these pulleys totally in line and everything with the water pump and the crankshaft, this power steering pump too. And I think with these things being all aligned and the combination of using the smaller belt that fits basically flush or actually a little bit in the groove, that will hopefully prevent our problem we've been having for basically all last year of these belts literally flipping over in the groove and then coming off with the RPMs returning, especially with this motor probably turning more RPMs than any motor I've ever had in this car before. So I'm throwing every trick in the book at this thing, and I'm hoping that these V-belts will hold on and I can get this thing to stay cool and keep power steering in it. If not, I'll just have to go to some kind of serpentine setup. That's the only really option there is in the book. And I know it's definitely a better option, but we're gonna give this one last shot at the V-belts, and then yeah, intake gaskets came in. So I'm not gonna put that on this video. I'm gonna leave you guys hanging a little bit, and hopefully, if everything goes right and I get the intake gaskets on and everything buttoned up on the engine, we should be putting the motor in the super truck next Thursday, and getting it all buttoned up, you know, exhaust on, oil system primed, yada yada yada. Oh, also we got to get these tires out here that we were airing up last night. They all hold air by the grace of God. These ones are all cleaned already, but these all still have the Petaluma dirt on them. So we got to get these tires washed up before the race. And like I said earlier, I don't know when this race is going to be, whether it's going to be 22nd, 29th, whatever. All the dysfunction out there with the scheduling, I'm just hoping that we'll be ready for whatever race it is. But we will see you until next Thursday. And remember, until then, if it's bent, it ain't broken. This is living proof of that. And we'll see you next time, guys, on Cherezian Racing.